Alright guys, JJK chapter 246 leaks came early, so this video and my sleep schedule will also both be good. So, just to warn those who haven't either caught up to the manga or don't want to be spoiled on current events, to click away from this video and wait for it to be officially released and animated. Alright, so get over with. Starting off with page 1, Higuruma screams out, "Damn!" He says, "My lack of battle experience got exposed." And then comments with that, Sukuna. Sukuna's curse technique is still there, it's still present, meaning, obviously, we saw in the last panel that the confiscation only applied to the Vajra, which is Sukuna's curse tool. It did not apply to his active curse technique. So then the narrator comes in and says, the Jujutsu High is in basically peril, pretty much. It says clutch, but peril, basically. So the curse technique there is Jujutsu High still in peril. So the clutch, it's in that reference, I would assume it would mean they kind of lost the edge, the upper hand they're supposed to have. Then it comes with the Yuji screaming Higuruma's name, and Kusakabe opening his new shadow style simple domain to cast it open and protect him and Higuruma from the cleaves, and actually I think it was dismantles that were coming towards them. Page 2 then opens up with Sukuna saying not only the brat, but everyone's basic cursed energy enhancement skills are drastically upgraded. He said adding to that, also using simple domain to decrease his own curse technique, which was is not as much as the domain application would be, but it also did decrease the damage that would have come through. We then get Kusakabe kind of had an inner monologue thinking he thought he was going to die from that last attack from Sukuna, and just kind of saying like, damn it. But he said he did get one thing from that information, that not all of the slashes are the slash that divides the world, the one he used against Gojo and Kashimo. He then says, obviously, if you think a little, it will need some kind of charge or binding valve to expand the target for the curse technique. Now, this kind of brings into question the previous battle with Gojo, if whether or not during the entire fight, if Sukuna was using a binding valve in order to fight him. If so, and I have to just throw him up there as a fraud, if he was having to use a binding valve the entire fight to fight Gojo and potentially beat him, not going. I'm going to put him up there. I know it is an applicable skill and ability, but it still is kind of fraudulent for one of the strongest characters in the verse, and a supposed strongest currently. He then states that Sukuna has two slashes, Dismantle, which is the regular slash, and Cleave, which changes depending on the strength of the opponent. Go to page 3, with Kusakabe saying, the slash that flies is Dismantle, and the slash that divides the world is Cleave, with the target being expanded. It then says Dismantle activates when it touches the target, with the exception being when the Malevolent Shrine is activated in the domain. And it says Cleave is a direct dismantle, and the slash that divides the world are the ones that will be an instant death, even if you use a curse energy enhancements, domain amplification, or simple domain. So any and all forms of defense will just be completely negated and it will just instantly kill you, basically. Or cleave whatever is in the way. Kusakabe then states that what's weird is that he hasn't used the fire, referring to the fire arrow he used against Jogo back in Shibuya. He says he'll just go with the answer for now that he just can't use it currently. He says it's kind of a waste to think because he won't be able to deal with it anyway. It's powerful enough to exercise Jogo, obviously, which is a special grade curse. Kusakabe then screams out, Higuruma, can you move? And Higuruma says, no problem. Page 4 starts with Higuruma saying, sorry, I got the death penalty, but the confiscation was only being applied to the cursed weapon and not Sukuna's curse technique. Kusakabe would reply with, that's enough, as Kusakabe would say that the sword is easily the easiest solution to finish the fight, and he says that he'll protect him even if it costs him his life, which then makes him kind of think and sit back for a second wondering, wait, am I really going to die here? And questioning why he said that, but then he thinks about it, he said, well, I've already said it, so I'm owning up to what I said to Sukuna. Then Sukuna then says, so you at least know how to guard. And then Sukuna went ahead and told them next is the legs, which is kind of ballsy, but he has a tendency to kind of let people know in advance, if he respects you, what attack's coming or where he's going to attack you, just to give you a little bit of advance, but usually they can't even do anything anyway. We then start with page 5, Sukuna saying, wanna do a race, brats. And then Choso is she's trying to shoot a piercing blood arrow, and then he just says it disappears. So he was originally aiming for the Vajra and Sukuna, and then they just disappear off the actual panel itself. They're gone. And then Yuji screams Choso, and with that, we then see, which is, it's pretty disheartening actually. Sukuna Usain Bolt dashes into my boy Choso, and he doesn't just get one ace or one Rengoku. He gets double donated. He gets pierced by 2 of Sukuna's right arms, and it's pretty sad. I really hope that wasn't enough to put down my man Choso. I don't think it is, but when I saw that panel, my heart kind of dropped a little bit. It sank. Then page 7 comes in with Ino with Nanami's blade crashing down onto Sukuna. And in page 8, we see that Nanami's curse technique, his blade, the curse technique is inside of it. So in the final fight of him against those transfigured humans, he somehow transcribed his curse technique into the blade for him. And then Sukuna remarks on the attack that he did against him, saying that's a lot harder than he expected. And then he responds with, I see. That blunt blade is, and responds with, a cursed weapon that is the 3/7 sorcerer's curse technique in it. So I saw some people in the comments that were kind of confused on why he knows this, and it's obviously because he was in Yuji's body. So he saw him fight alongside him against Mahito originally. So he knows what the curse technique is, pretty handedly. Ino says, dang, it's heavy, after Sukuna pummels him with a punch straight across it, but he lands it with the broadside of the blade, so it kind of impacts it kind of like a berserk guard, but it still goes through with it. Page 10 is basically just a nice and pretty art, pretty much. You just see the cover slide of Kusakabe guarding alongside with him, and he basically just gets ragdolled and punched a lot, which is slightly sad. And then we go to page 7 with Sukuna asking, are you able to hang on? He grabs on to Kusakabe, it just freaking throws him into the fucking the piles of rubble in the trash on the ground, which, you know, you gotta love it, man. Sukuna's put on a show. He's put on a show, honestly. Yuji then screams, don't let Higuruma be alone, because obviously he is the sole proprietor. He is the most important person in this battle right now. He's the one they need to keep alive at all costs. Page 13 starts with Kusakabe screaming to Yuji, go ahead of me, Itadori. Because he's laying down basically. He's not out for the count, but he's out. Like, he got pummeled by Sukuna just now, and any normal person, let alone Kusakabe, is going to be down. So him being and having those feats alone is very impressive for him. Also, just to backtrack a little bit, back on page 7 and 8, I saw someone notice this when the links were coming out actually, but I just want to remark on it. We see here that Ino, after 2 months of training, is able to keep up relatively and attack a 20-finger plus Sukuna, even though prior he was getting ragdolled by Toji and Shibuya. So that 2 months training is insane, considering he got pummeled by Toji, and now he's able to kind of swap hands with Sukuna. So my man Ino's stocks are going up actually. I saw that and I really needed to speak on it because we need to put some respect on my boy's name. Like, that is a feat. That's a feat in and of itself. Like, that's very impressive. Next page, page 14. We see before this, right at the end of 12. No, my bad. In the 13, when he says, "Go ahead, meet Itadori," Sukuna does like a full-on, like Usain Bolt. He's full sprint stride, and like the impact lines are all going jaggedly straight. So you see the movement of him and the force, and he like, with the explosion of his footstep, it explodes where Kusakabe's body is. So he's not dead, of course, but the rubble flares up everywhere. So you see he's moving, and then in the following page of 14, Yuji just says so fast, as Sukuna is actually faster than Yuji on foot, which is crazy to think about, because we've seen how fast Yuji is physically. So Sukuna is even faster than him, and we see he's a pretty good distance above him. But this still is a Yuji feat in itself, because he's relativistic to Sukuna in this moment. Even though Sukuna is faster, he's still keeping up with him at least. Like, he's not like miles away behind him. He's still there, which is very impressive in my opinion. We then go to page 15, which goes with Yuji saying, this is also minorly a prequel a little bit. This is before the fight actually occurred. But Yuji asked, for one plan to save Fushiguro, I need Higuruma's curse technique, which is useful. Yuji then says, can you explain what your curse technique is? It's privacy. And then Higuruma says, don't mind about it. Which ends with Sukuna popping up right behind Higuruma, who's already waiting for him, ready to fight. We then go into page 16, which is also a flashback, with Higuruma saying, the ones that get slashed with the Executioner's sword will die with no exception. But the target will be only to the person that got declared for it. So in this case, it would only be towards Sukuna, which is then later talked about in just 1 second. And then Higuruma then says, whether or not Judgment is able to identify with multiple souls inside a vessel, though, is already proven by Itadori. If Sukuna is the one that will take the judge, then we should be able to retain Fushiguro Megami's soul without being harmed. Which then Maki then says, see, it's really good, because she's trying to put a little bit of input, but she doesn't always understand what's going on. And Yuji responds with, as just similar to him, Higuruma, you want to die? As a question. And then we hear Kusakabe then say, basically nothing. He's like crickets, and he says, what are you suddenly asking me? We then go to page 17. It comes through, same thing again. Yuji then asked, you can't use reverse curse technique, but you are put into a spot to fight Sukuna, like it's obvious, Higuruma. And then Higuruma says, I am a human that ditched the law, and vice versa. I want to be a person to punish myself in the end. You are right, but what you asked, I'm thinking that I should die here, completing my role. And Yuji responds with, it's alright, I'm like the same too. But, I don't know how to say it, but I think you should go back. Higuruma then responds with, don't say something that's not possible. I've become the human that can't look at your eyes anymore. And we visibly see Higuruma is like staring straight at the floor. He can no longer actually look Yuji in the eyes for all of the past actions he's occurred and done. Even though Yuji himself isn't sin-free, he's not, I guess, some angelic force. He's still there as an individual, and he's pushing through with all his adversities. But even with that, Higuruma himself, whether it's his past or the current problems he did in the Colon games, he's an inability to look them in the eyes and speak to them person to person, which is telling of his character. I mean, something's coming full circle here, and I am getting slightly concerned. We then go to page 18. This pops up with Higuruma being slashed, but Sukuna then remarks with, domain amplification. He neutralized my technique. The narrator then gasses up Higuruma, stating, less than 2 months after he awakened as a sorcerer. An extraordinary growth. Sukuna was fascinated. So within 2 months of being a sorcerer, he had a domain expansion, an OP curse technique, OP domain, and then in this fight, he saw domain amplification 1 time, and then perfectly did it against Sukuna. And then we end on page 19 with the narrator saying, the Executioner's sword, the sword of instant death, is shining again. And the prospect that can match with Gojo Satoru is shining. And we end off with a break next week, though. So I can't take it anymore, man. There's too much hype going on. There's too much stuff for my brain to sit back and really enjoy and comprehend what's going on. But all I do know is, if you have Higuruma stocks, they're going through the roof, you need to sell them now before they crash down next chapter and potentially are lost forever. But Gege is gassing this dude up. Even Sukuna is. Like, Sukuna's seeing what Kenjaku was saying, like, this is the guy you need to watch out for. Because we see it right here, where even the narrator says he is a prospect that can match with Satoru Gojo. So his potential is second only, I think, to Gojo himself. Like, this guy's potential is insane. His latent ability to learn, adapt, and prove himself is phenomenal. And we end the page with him readying himself up to face Sukuna himself, dominification up, with the Executioner's sword in hand in a brawler stance. Like, this is phenomenal. This is amazing. This is everything I was expecting from this fight against Sukuna and more, honestly. Like, I'm getting more and more satisfaction, and my expectations are raising higher and higher from Gege to give me exactly what my brain's envisioning for this to end. Like, I'm seeing this already, but like, before this chapter came out, I was 100% assured already. Sukuna won. He already won. He won the case. It's over. He's going to get the sword probably and kill everyone, because literally no one in the verse could stop him besides the sword right now. No one else could. He could kill anyone in the verse at the same time if they came to fight him. He'd beat them all. He'd win. So Gege did kind of write himself into a hole with this one. But at least with this, there's a possibility that we can defeat Sukuna and save Megami still, and continue on with whatever was going to occur with Kenjaku's storyline, because we're probably going to flash back to that, or the Urume fight, which most likely it'll be the Kenny and versus Yuta, and then we'll go back to Urume versus Hikari. But we'll see. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely look out for the official releases. They'll be coming out within the next week or so. HQ higher def scans of these will be coming out later today with the English translation, so I might make an update on that either here or on Twitter, so keep updated for that. I'll put out scans for that possibly, or updated images. But yeah, keep updated. So definitely support official releases of the anime and the manga, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Keep updated. I'll put more in the comment down below and updated new videos. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Like and comment down below if you did. Let me know your opinions on this and this new chapter. Big things are happening, big reveals, and I hope to see y'all next time. Take care, and as always, bye guys.